guys, so just before we get into the video, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about my channel memberships. I recently did some changes so that there is a single tier for $2.99 a month, and you guys will get all of the perks that come with my channel membership, including custom emojis, members only live streams, member only videos, all of that kind of stuff, and it's all on the single tier, and it is $2.99 a month. I'm really hoping that this will encourage some new members, so if you guys are interested in supporting my channel, please go check it out. Hey guys, and welcome to another Stitch of the Week. If you're new to either my channel or this series, excuse me, my name is Adrian and Kiwi is my Indian ring neck. And for this series, what I am doing is each week I am going in and showing you guys how to make a one of the many stitches in this book. It's called the Crochet Stitch Dictionary. It's got 440 patterns in it. And my lighting is kind of odd, but there is the authors right there. This week we are actually working on stitch number 6, which in this book is called the Broad Slip Stitch Ridges. Now, we are still working our way through basic crochet stitch variations. At some point, we will be getting into more complex stitches as we get in further into the book. So let me get my camera turned around and I will show you guys how to work up the Stitch of the Week. Alright, so for this stitch tutorial, I am going to be using some scrap Sheep G's Katana in the colorway Forest Green, and a 3.5mm hook. So let's see. Well, you can tell I've used this one for stitch tutorials quite a few times. Anyways, so we're gonna start with our slip stitch, and then this particular stitch can be done with any chain amount plus 1. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and do 10 chain stitches plus 1, which will be my turning chain. So 1, 2, 3, so that gives me a total of 11 chains. So this stitch is similar to the cord look texture stitch that we did in week 4, which I will leave a link to up in the corner if anybody missed it or is interested in checking that out. But the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put single crochets all the way across. So at the end of the row we will have 10 single crochets. We're going to go ahead and skip this first chain stitch here. Alright, so our first row is just single crochets, and you should have one less than the number that you chained. In my case, that would be 8 single crochets. So we are going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work. We're going to be working twisted slip stitches through the back loop only. So that chain 1 is our turning chain. We're going to jump right in to this stitch here. We're going to go through just the back loop, and we're going to place a slip stitch. Now what that does is it actually twists the slip stitch. Oy, this is going to be a pain, I can tell already. So turn, you're going to insert your hook from back to front underneath the back loop only, with your working yarn located behind the crochet hook. And then you're going to immediately make your slip stitch. So going through just the back loop like this, and then you're gonna, I keep wanting to turn it into a single crochet, but just your back loop. I'm thinking that's how it's done. There we go. So get your back loop. You're gonna have 2 loops on your hook. Draw up a loop and slip stitch through both of those loops. And that is going to make, I'm thinking that's how I'm supposed to be doing it. Y'all have to remember that working these stitches, a lot of these stitches are newer to me as well. But I'm pretty certain that's how you're supposed to do it. It does give you a little bit of a ridge here that I'm already noticing. You just have to be aware to go from the back to the front around that stitch. And it looks like it goes pretty well. I mean, pretty quick. It's, you know, way quicker than last week's stitch. Last week's stitch was the flat single crochet, otherwise known as the waistcoat stitch, and I tell you what, I had a lot of trouble getting that one to work for me. Well, maybe. There we go. Uh-oh. The yarn split on me here. So that's what it looks like after the first, well, after the first row of twisted slip stitches. I'm going to chain up 1, and I'm going to do it again the same way, going in through the back loop from the back. Hopefully I'm remembering to stay in frame. draw up a loop and pull it through both of those loops that are on your hook. And you know, as usual, my tension is off when I do these slip stitch variations. I can never seem to keep a proper consistent tension with these things. So you're just going to repeat that row after row, doing the twisted slip stitch in the back loop of each stitch. And I will meet back up with you guys here in a moment after I've worked up a few rows to show you what my completed piece looks like. Actually, I'm a little bit tempted to frog mine and do more than 10 stitches. See if I can't, you know, get it to play out just a little bit better, because you can see mine's already starting to bow right here in the middle because of my tension. Maybe I'll make a little bit of a larger swatch, and I'll meet back up with you guys here momentarily. Alright guys, so this is, I only did a very few amount of rows. Clearly I'm having trouble with this one. I think I'm not really sure what's going on with this, or why I can't seem to get this thing to work out properly. It does look like it does in the picture, which I will show you here in a moment. I really think it's my tension, and I may have missed a stitch here. But you can see, like, my stitches are way looser in this row than they are in these rows, and that's because it's slip stitch, and for some reason I can never keep consistent slip stitch tension or whatever. So I will show you what it looks like, what it's supposed to look like. So it's supposed to look like this right here. And I think that the upper rows do sort of look like that. Let's make a little bit of a comparison. So, I mean, it does sort of look like that. But like I said, you can tell my tension really started to get off in these upper rows. I think there's only like three rows here. I did a total of 4 rows, and these top 3 rows just are way tighter than this bottom row here. So I don't know. Yeah. This is a stitch that I don't care for. Anyways, let me turn my camera back around. Alright guys, so as you can see, I have a lot of trouble with slip stitches and slip stitch variations. Like, this is what it looks like held up. I have no idea what I'm going to do for my thumbnail because it just looks like total crap to me. I tried, this is actually a bigger swatch. I did 16 chains for this rather than the 10 that I started out with. Yeah, it is a very dense fabric. This, I think, would be a good stitch for doing like ribbing on sweaters, just because of that ridge right there. But But like I said, it's a dense fabric. I don't know. It's not going to be one that I use probably ever. I like the ribbing that I do on my sweaters already, so I don't see the point in changing it up. Why change something that's not broken? You know what I'm saying? But anyways, guys, see, I'm looking here. I'm sorry, I totally paused. I'm looking here at some of their tips for this stitch, and it says that the first row to use a smaller hook, the first row of single crochets, to go ahead and use a smaller hook and then size up for the rest of your stitches. So maybe that could play a part in the trouble that I'm having. I don't know. If you guys try this stitch out, and you guys can get it to work, let me know in the comments. I know that my row of single crochets was actually very loose, and it was the upper rows that were tighter, so, but it does say to use a smaller hook to prevent the edge from stretching when you make your single crochets. I don't know. If you guys do this stitch or try it out, let me know your thoughts, because I don't know. I don't know. It's just not something, it's not my cup of tea. Yeah. But anyways, next week we will be working on a stitch called Ridged Lines. Hopefully it's not a slip stitch variation. In the meantime, I hope that you guys enjoyed the stitch tutorial. I know my tutorials are not super great, but I do hope that at the very least you guys can pick up an idea of how they are worked, and you know, at the very worst case scenario, y'all find somebody who has a better tutorial than what I made, you know what I'm saying, just to kind of familiarize yourselves with some new stitches. Anyways, I am going to let you guys go for now, and yeah. Bye.